and down, in every hiding place we're found. Your love sees us through. Through the darkness, you're our only light, guiding us through day and night. Your love sees us through. With your grace, we sing praise. From north to south, from east to west, your love endures forever. Give thanks to you, Lord, for you are good. Your love endures forever. You know our deepest story in and out, washing all our fear and doubt. Your love sees us through. Delivered us, you saved us from distress, filling up this emptiness. Your love sees us through. With your grace, we sing praise. From north to south, from east to west, your love endures forever. Give thanks to you, Lord, for you are good. Your love endures forever. From north to south, from east to west, your love endures forever. Give thanks to you, Lord, for you are good. Your love endures forever. Washing you away, constantly afraid, but your love sees us through. Lost in our own minds, caught in our mistakes, but your love sees us through. Pushing you away, constantly afraid, but your love sees us through. Lost in our own minds, caught in our mistakes, but your love sees us through. Pushing you away, constantly afraid, but your love sees us through. Lost in our own minds, caught in our mistakes, but your love sees us through. Your love sees us through. From north to south, from east to west, your love endures forever. Give thanks to you, Lord, for you are good. Your love endures forever. From north to south, from east to west, your love endures forever. Give thanks to you, Lord, for you are good. Your love endures forever.
After Jesus had been born at Bethlehem in Judea during the reign of King Herod, some wise men came to Jerusalem from the east. "Where is the infant King of the Jews?" they asked. We saw his star as it rose, and have come to do him homage." When King Herod had heard this, he was perturbed, and so was the whole of Jerusalem. He called together all the chief priests and the scribes of the people, and inquired of them where the Christ was to be born. "At Bethlehem in Judea," they told him, "for this is what the prophet wrote. And you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, you are by no means least among the leaders of Judah, for out of you will come a leader who will shepherd my people Israel." Then Herod summoned the wise men to see him privately. He asked them the exact date on which the star had appeared, and sent them on to Bethlehem. "Go and find out about the child," he said, "and when you have found him, let me know, so that I too may go and do him homage." Having listened to what the king had to say, they set out, and there in front of them was the star they had seen rising. It went forward and halted over the place where the child was. The sight of the star filled them with delight, and going into the house, they saw the child with his mother Mary, and falling to their knees, they did him homage. Then, opening their treasures, they offered him gifts of gold and frankincense and myrrh. But they were warned in a dream not to go back to Herod, and return to their own country by a different way.
I can remember when I was at university joking with my friends about the Epiphany, and I would argue with them that at least one, if not all three of them, must have come from China, because they came from the east. And if you go any further to the east, you fall into the ocean. So I said, one at least must come from there. But as time went on, I began to realize that the star which is spoken of is often spoken of as something which happened within the Crab Nebula, and therefore there was something which was cited by astronomers around that time. And the country where the government astronomers noted this, in fact, was China. It's there in the records of the Han Dynasty that there was seen something in the heavens. Now, I don't know whether anyone came from China or not, but that was what we used to joke about and argue at university. What we're celebrating here is a very interesting group of people who come to pay homage to Jesus. You've had the shepherds, you've had Mary and Joseph, you've had the angels, but now you've got seekers, people who are scouring the heavens looking for knowledge. And in terms of the time, these people were the professors, these people were the scientists, the people who spent their evenings searching the skies, because the thinking was to understand the heavens will mean that I'll understand what's here on earth. And so there were people who were able to calculate. Way back in those days, when the eclipses would take place, they were able to calculate many things which required great mathematics. And many cultures had these. These men, were there three? We don't even know. The Gospel doesn't tell us the number. The Gospel only tells us that there were three gifts. Travelled a long distance, seeking the reason for what they saw in the heavens. This, in fact, means that this group of people now are thinkers. They're people who question. They're the scientific people, not just devoted people as the shepherds were. And these people now arrive on the scene. If we just left it at that, we would say, well, that's rather interesting. But the peculiar thing to identify in this event of the Epiphany is that they come in and they fall down and they do homage. Not simply that they give gifts. Something happens. A scientist doesn't travel thousands of miles thinking, when I see what I've come to see, I will fall down and do homage. The scientists is coming to see what is it that this star is pointing to. And something happens, which is contained in the gospel. They go in, they see this, and they fall on their knees. The real question we need to ask in terms of today's gospel is, what happens to these wise men, these scientists, that makes them move from their mind to their knees? What has happened that makes them fall down and worship? Because this is not what they were looking for. They were looking for the reason for this star. And I don't know what they were expecting. They knew that it had something to do with someone that was born. That was a very common thing in those days. You'll find that in many stories of the time. But they fall down and they do homage. The question that we must ask them is, what did you see? What did you see which brought you to your knees? And the answer is not a child in swaddling clothes. The answer is not a child with a mother and father in a dirty manger. The answer is, these wise men also had the wisdom which goes with humility. Humility is that virtue, that spiritual virtue by which we will bend the knees, as St. Paul says, to the name of Jesus. Even to the name, the man or the woman of humility will bend their knees even to the name of Jesus. These wise men have the wisdom of humility, and they enter and they see something which I'm not sure that I would have seen. If I was there, I probably would have walked by and saw a newborn child in a dirty manger with its mother and father and some smelly animals around it. Would I have seen what these men saw? I don't know. I do hope I would have. But these men were also men of holiness, and therefore they saw the reality. They saw the reality of God present, and they fell to their knees because to this point you would expect to see God in lightning and thunder and strange events. But they fell to their knees because they saw God in this baby. This is an extraordinary event, which is why this feast is called the Epiphany, Epiphanos, which is the revealing, it means the revealing of the glory of God. And people who weren't expecting to see the glory of God, people who were not of the Jewish faith, people from another country who came looking for what I don't know, who came looking for what the star was about, were brought to their knees. And they go home, which is the next important thing about the Epiphany. They go home giving glory to the God that they have now seen. They see the glory of God in this human being. And as they go home, I like to think that perhaps in this ancient world where human life was worth very little, they go home announcing to their people, God is present in a human being. I saw it and I worshipped. Go home and ponder. Ask for the eyes to see God present in every human being. And if need be, fall down and worship the God who is present in each of us.
Enrich your Catholic faith with convenient online courses through the University of Dayton VLCFF. That's the virtual learning community for faith formation. VLCFF Online offers more than 100 course subjects in English, Spanish, and Arabic. Learn within an online community across the globe. Learn from trained, qualified facilitators dedicated to giving you the attention you need to succeed. Learn at your convenience. Anytime, anywhere, any day, year-round. Complete a course in just 3 to 5 weeks. See why the VLCFF is the premier distance education platform for adult faith formation, teacher certification, and Catholic education. Go to VLCFF.UDAYTON.EDU. Celebrating 20 years of online faith formation.